Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video. And in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about what to do if you find yourself either bringing up old arguments and constantly rehashing things from the past, even though you're like, I want to park it, I want to set it to rest, or if you're on the receiving end of that and you find that somebody in your life, perhaps your romantic partner, keeps bringing up old arguments again and again. And you're like, I thought we talked about this. Stop bringing up the past. And they continue to do it. And you feel hurt and confusing and frustrated. And this is something that so commonly happens in relationships. And there's a really specific set of reasons as to why that I want to share with you, and then what you can actually do to make sure you get beyond this. So if this is something you can relate to, the very first thing that you need to understand is that we bring up old experiences from the past when we actually never properly resolved them. So we have an experience, our subconscious mind stores it with a lack of resolution. And then when something else reminds us of it, as a subconscious strategy, because your mind's like an association making machine. So like, let's say, for example, that you have a DA and an AP. And let's say the AP feels invalidated by something the DA does. When they feel invalidated, especially if the DA is still not recognizing their feelings of invalidation and fear in real time, then what happens is we store things through association. So our subconscious says, and this time, right here, that time last week, that time 3 months ago, and it tries to flood these things to the surface. And so what we'll do is basically two things. Because these stored associations are there, stored with a lack of resolution, when we feel unheard or misunderstood, or we still feel like we're not being validated, we will retrieve, when we don't know how to explain better, we will retrieve past arguments and try to bring those up too, to further enforce our point. Now, what is it all a call for at the bottom rung of the ladder? This is all a call for literally just having your emotions and perspective validated by your partner. Your partner doesn't have to say you're absolutely correct, you're the right one, I'm the wrong one. But when we're doing this and we feel unresolved, it's because part of resolution, and the most important part of resolution, is that we just feel seen, heard, and understood. So much of the time when people are seemingly arguing about being right and wrong, they're actually arguing about, hey, I want you to see me. I want you just to empathize with my feelings in the situation, to see how I might feel, to just, tap into me and my experience here as your partner. And when we get into an argument and there is a misunderstanding, it hurts more so because we feel like this person's my partner. They're supposed to get me and understand me and know me, and they're not. And that's so much of what we're fighting about when we're trying to fight over being right versus wrong. And so when you have this experience where people keep bringing arguments back up, it's essentially an extension of that. It's saying, I'm not feeling resolved right now. You're not hearing me. Let me further prove my point by letting you know this time that you did it, this time that you did it. But that doesn't get received by the other party as like, oh, now I understand your point. Now I see why you feel this way. Instead, usually the person on the receiving end of that feels like, why are you bringing up the past? And they often feel attacked, criticized, diminished, disconnected. And so we get into this really painful standstill in relationships. Now, all of this can be resolved with a few key steps. And if you want to, I'm going to go through these steps at a high level here, but if you want to do a much deeper dive into this, I have a great course that goes through this in detail. It's called How to Repair Any Relationship. And it gives you the framework to repair a relationship based on where it's at. Like sometimes our reparation of relationship means still having strong boundaries with somebody. And that's the healthiest version of a relationship with that individual in our lives based on history or the way the person is. And sometimes it's a full reparation where we get into like deep connection with somebody. But there are steps in that course in a lot of detail for how to help ourselves de-escalate in conflict, but also how to help somebody else de-escalate in conflict if we're having a tough time. The steps are in a lot more detail there, but I'm going to give them to you at a high level here, which is we start by, if somebody is bringing something up over and over again, or if you are, either way, it's like, you need to be seen and heard and understood. And you need to know that your partner sees and hears and understands you. You're just looking for empathy, really. And so if somebody's bringing something back up, if you say, hey, and by the way, you can disagree with the person's behaviors too, right? Like somebody could be anxious and feeling invalidated, but they yell. And you might turn around and say, hey, I really don't like when we bring up the past, but I'm now also realizing that you're bringing up the past because you don't feel like I've heard you yet. You don't feel like I really understand where you're coming from. And I can see why you'd feel insecure in the situation. I can see why you'd feel hurt. And now I understand that you keep bringing this up because it's a call, a cry for help and support and to be seen in this area. And I can see why you feel that way, but I also disagree with you raising your voice as a strategy to get this need met. And I would love if you could communicate more directly to me next time instead of through raising your voice or through rehashing the past. Just tell me what about the past you need to be seen and heard and understood. So what you're essentially doing is you're validating, I see what emotion you're feeling. I get why you're bringing this up. And I can see why you would feel that way. You're saying it's okay. It's appropriate for you to feel that way as you in your situation. That doesn't mean I'm saying your behavior is okay if somebody's doing something unhealthy, but people get resolved just through having their feelings and their needs seen and heard and understood and just spoken to. And so what you'll find is if you're in a relationship with somebody where you are the person, either one that keeps bringing up these patterns over and over again, just by either requesting for your feelings and needs to be seen and heard and validated and clearly articulating what they are, or by simply seeing somebody's feelings and just noticing what they're feeling and just speaking to that and just saying, I see why you're feeling X, Y, Z, insert the emotion that they're feeling. And I understand why you would feel that way. It's hugely validating for the person on the receiving end. And this is where we actually get resolution. And this is where we can park arguments and stop bringing up the past in that way where, this compulsive sort of knee-jerk reaction to do so happens. And so much of that, right? It's almost like those two key branches. The first branch is my association making machine mind spits out the past, right? To get seen, to get heard, to get validated. And the secondary branch of that is it's also a justification, right? Like I want you to, you're not hearing me otherwise. So I need to justify to you why I'm bringing this, why I'm upset now, because it's also this and this and this. And we're trying to prove that our feelings are valid. We're trying to earn space for our feelings to take up. So just, noticing that those are the main patterns that produce this behavior, produce these dynamics and relationships can be massively useful to just break through, leave things behind once and for all, actually clear out some of that resentment and emotional storage around things and progress into deeper connection in your relationship. So as I mentioned, if you want to do a deeper dive, the How to Repair Any Relationship course has really profound steps and a really deep framework, a workbook, everything laid out for you. You can check it out for free for 7 days using the link below. And that is it for today. Thank you for being here and watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.